So you are young, you are ambitious, and you wanna really make it big in your early life. So in this video, I'm not gonna talk some bullshit. I'm gonna talk straight to the point. That's 7 strategies that helps you actively to go from multiple 5 figures to 6 figures and multiple 8 figures as well. And myself, I haven't made that much amount of money, but I'm on the path to actually generate that. And to just get in context, I'm actually 16 years old right now, and if you're also in this age gaps like 16 to 20, like in your early 20s as well, you have to understand these kind of 7 core principles which I'm gonna be talking in this video in order to actively go at the top. So let's get right into it. So first thing is basically pawn and king. So in order, like the biggest mistake with this generation is they don't want to be pawn and they just directly want to be king. It doesn't really matter. Like even if you have to grow into like enormous power, you have to first like clear stages. It's like game. You have to clear stages level 1, level 2, level 3 in order to get to level 10 and get those all weapons and stuff. So basically in order to actually go there, you need to humble yourself and actually first become pawn. And I see many guys nowadays just think like, okay, becoming king or becoming enormous wealthy, you just need like some multiple complex companies. And why you are not recommending me this agency, why you are recommending me agency? You see Elon Musk, like all these great billionaires are running spaceship companies and Tesla and stuff like that. It basically feels like very wrong and actually stupid, because in order to actually achieve that kind of goals and actually build that kind of companies, you first need to start at level 1. Like first you need to start at zero connections and zero relations, zero capital. So you would be starting with agency, right? Because that's the best business model, I would say, which actively like helped me in my journey. And I don't know, like it can be trading as well for you, like anything e-com, but just start it, right? Because it's basically stage 1 thing. In order you need to clear that, then you basically gonna be reaching out to the top. And you can't just be like king directly. You can't open SpaceX like tomorrow, right? SpaceX and stuff, because you actively have to first scale your agency in order to actively make that kind of money from your big businesses basically. So you first gotta be understanding and actually putting like humble on yourself and actively starting small and then just grow little by little. Because I see many guys these days who do like this kind of stuff. They want to reach $1 million a year just like Spark. They don't understand, in order to actually make millions, you first need to cross this path like 10k, 100k, and then 500k, then $1 million basically. You're not gonna reach at like just in Spark. I know it really like easy to actively scale from 100k to million because you actively have made money and you have the conviction and the systems in place. But in order to do that, you first need to cross 100k, right? So that was the first point. The second point is actively dressing. And I know many people would be thinking, why is this? So basically, dressing actually helps you a lot in order to achieve your goals. If you are actually young, nobody gonna take you seriously, to be honest. But you actively act like really old. I wouldn't say old, but adult, and actively dress like them. People gonna take you actively serious. So let me get this straight. When I was 15 years old, I actually started many business ventures and I just went on meetings, but nobody took me like actually serious because I was basically dressing like frumpy old guy. And you can see 30 years old who actively like just do casuals and actively just, wear some t-shirts, shorts, and Balenciaga, this and that. They gonna look so young. And you can see 18, 19 years old, even 16-year-old who actively like wear casual stuff, suits, and basically dress like a gentleman. So people actively take them serious. And actually it also really depends on your mind, if you actively knows how to communicate and how to talk basically. Because if you have dressed like good, everything is basically fine, nobody gonna take you seriously if you are just talking shit, right? So first work on your communication skills, most important thing. And second is basically dressing like an gentleman and actually like an adult, like not like these kind of guys who are nowadays just singers and stuff. They're actively got influenced by these all brokey dudes. So we don't have to do like that, and actively get some confidence in yourself. Just like round shaped t-shirts, like normal stuff, just be casual, nothing too fancy. And that basically gonna also, it gonna save your much money and gonna basically humble you, also gonna basically like save your mind to get destroyed. Because I see many teenagers these days actively fumble on these kind of stuff like clothing and shit. I don't really give a shit about that. I basically dress casual. It basically takes 5 minutes to actually dress up and stuff, and it basically gonna help you very much. And you can basically thanks me afterwards. But yeah, try that out and let me know how it goes. Third thing is basically humble yourself, and it could be humbling like in combat sports or basically doing some stuff which can basically dull your ambition. I'm not actively saying that discourage yourself, like spark your ambition in basically low heights. I would say just humble yourself, because I see many ambitious guys who are just ambitious but doesn't really do shit. Because you can see really ambitious employees, but if they are not working, then their ambition is basically nothing, right? It's garbage totally. So I see many guys who actively say to their parents, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, tell their friends, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna buy a Ferrari, but actively doesn't do shit. Like they can't just sit on a laptop for a hour or something in a day. So you first have to humble yourself. Okay, I'm not in shit, I have to work a lot. Because when you get that mindset that okay, an improvement is needed in order to be and change, then you basically gonna start taking action. If you think like you are all good and all basically fine, then you basically not gonna take any action to in order to actually change yourself, right? So in first you have to take action, and combat sports is basically best. I'm gonna tell you a story. I was in kickboxing before, and I actually taken a lot of like hits. I was basically ambitious that okay, nobody can do something with me, and I basically got some hits, I lost some fights, and I actually got humbled, and okay, I seen okay, I need some improvements, right? That is like needed to actually put you in place from being so arrogant and ambitious. And actively I also got this thing before, like there was in one client I actively hired, and also an employee, but they actively like just left in 4 days of getting on board, because I wasn't great as leader, and I was just dull ambitious and wasn't doing any work. And I think I wasn't basically a great leader. That what you have to understand in order to be and good basically leader. And also just humble yourself, because I see this arrogance in much generation like this generation, and that basically gonna help you very much. So now the fourth thing is basically keeping your circle small and basically having a big influence. There's nothing like bad about having a big influence or something like that, but it's about keeping small circle. Like I know many people who have like so many friends and they think they are powerful. It's basically dumb shit, right? Because nobody is as loyal as that in today's world. So you have to have like only two, three, I wouldn't say a specific number, but small circle of friends who will rather die for you or put anything for you, rather than having 100 traitors basically who gonna basically stab you in the back. So how to test this is basically having some bad situation you either created or just naturally occurs, and just call them. Let's suppose you like lost 5 grand today, and you have to take like from your 5 friends like thousand to actually pay off. Just call them up and see who is gonna do that. I know like some friends are poor and actually can't just do that, but like even if they actually give you 100 200, like just contribute a little bit, you're gonna see the real value from your friends. And I learned that very like afterwards in my life, and actually just having a small circle will actually make you an exception, because nobody gonna actually care you and about you basically in if you are in crowd or something, because you just don't make any enough value for them, right? And nobody, like no rich person gonna make you friend or something like that, gonna talk with you, because you ain't shit right now. So just take that loyal friends and keep your circle small, and no flashy stuff and no fluffy stuff, because everybody gonna be around you in good times, but it's about like who stands behind you in your bad times and in your struggling years where you're actively building in your young age. So that is basically a thing which I would recommend you guys to have that in early stage of your life. Fifth thing is basically no casual dates. And I'm being totally honest, I wouldn't go deeper into this, but I would say just have an right thing or right partner, or just have nothing. Because I see many, like even in teenagers, even in my many friends, I see this problem arising that they are just, casually dating, casually going and chasing girls and shit. It's basically complete time waste, and no girl wants you at age of like 16, 17, and they're not gonna be serious at all. And it's basically waste of time. Because if something, like understand this, if something isn't contributing to your life, it's basically a time waste thing, right? They're not basically gonna be your wife in a couple of years, they're gonna leave you anyways. And many people give this excuse that I like, oh, I have some fun chatting with them. Okay, so you're born to lose basically, right? And I'm just talking to real killers that listen guys, I'm in that stage, I was in both kind of exceptions, and I have experienced everything, and I know isn't worth it. Don't do that. And I know like sometimes it is okay in parties and stuff, but actively don't destroy your peak years in which you can actively make enormous amount of wealth or build yourself, and then you would have a loyal partner like afterwards. Because many guys, like most, like I would say the biggest problem in teenagers is basically they are trying to be adults so quick. They want that Lambo quickly. They want everything quickly. They want six packs quickly. They want girls quickly. But they don't understand they have to build from ground up and actively do stuff. So that's like early point. Make yourself humble and go in martial arts. Go in these kind of stuff that will make you humble and put you in place that gonna say to you you aren't shit, and do the stuff basically. So yeah, it was it. And now the second last thing would be God will test you in every situation. So let's suppose if you want $1 million, are you actively able to manage that kind of money? Or you will just, like, oh, I'll buy Louis Vuitton, blah blah blah. Because many times I say, okay, once you get $1 million, what you gonna do? Like, for example, to a friend, you're gonna say, oh, first I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna buy this. Then you're gonna be broke in 24 hours. That's why God isn't giving you anything. So God will test you at every single point. And if you have 10,000 bucks in your account, God is still testing you that are you able to manage that kind of money? Because you have to listen like this. If someone, like, it's not about someone can't be XYZ. If someone wants to be in president, he should be able to actively handle that kind of stress and tolerance of whole country. If someone wants to be an, kind of like company leader, he should be able to actively see the reports, emails, have to actively manage the employees. You should be have a roadmap in your mind for what you are actively going and for what you are actively dreaming. If you dream about like having SpaceX as Elon Musk, then dream to be Elon Musk and dream to have working like about 16 hours a day. Then you actively gonna that get that basically. And God always gonna test you out. And as I said, humble yourself before God humbles you, because if God humbles you, then probably it's gonna be complete shit, right? So do that, and yeah, it's basically gonna improve your life in any aspect and gonna make you just more responsible. And last thing now would be investing. I know I haven't talked about much about like finances, and you're gonna be probably saying, "Oh, how I'm gonna be millionaire by you said casual days, have some small circle?" Because the business is done by you basically. So you are the kind of person who have to take responsibility. And I would say personal life matters more in the business, because if there's a dog who drunk every day and basically running a business gonna fail, right? So you have to change yourself in order to change your revenue in your business. And last thing would be invest fast and don't go flashy into like crypto. Buy something that is solid and it's hard to sell. It can be gold, it can be real estate. And I wouldn't say like real estate, I know that's a big investment for teenagers, but if you are making like many 5 6 figures, you can easily buy real estates, right? So you have to buy that. So it is like hard to sell them, and you're not gonna sell that as liquid, because if you're buying some crypto, you're gonna sell that like anyways, because you are just teenager and you don't actively know how to manage money. But if you have like real estate, it's hard to sell. It's not like you can just go on a wallet and sell that, right? So you're gonna have some in for future that gonna like actively motivate you, and you can enjoy your fruits of labor in future, right? And many main thing, like many young guys do this mistake, they actively buy flashy things early in their life. Yeah, it could be nice watch if you're buying some Rolex and stuff. It basically contains gold, diamonds, so it is basically worth of money. But if you're buying like supercars, I know you are buying for that like flex, and it doesn't really matter, because in 18, 19, 16, 17, whatever the age is, like 20, people gonna always say you lucky. So it doesn't really matter. And if you are buying such a supercar and these kind of cars young age, you are just trying to flex, right? Let's be honest. So people really don't care, and you can actively like invest right now and basically explore your fruits of labor afterwards in your life, like when you are 24, 25, and can enjoy your life by these cars. So people actively can see, okay, this person bought this, right? So it's basically, this is was an basically brother to brother or brother to sister advice basically, because this is gonna actively improve your life for future as well, for now as well. And these were the things which can actually contribute to a teenager life. If you are actively in these kind of years, you're gonna be basically crushing it, right? So this gonna actively improve that. And I would basically say more glory to God, and you're gonna be crushing it. Basically, if you have any questions, you can DM me on Instagram, and I will basically get you. If you want to actively scale your agency, just apply for RM. I will see you there as well. And as always, rooting for you from afar, and we'll see you in the next video.